Welcome to the Hockey Writers Blackhawks Banter, a weekly show with our top Chicago Blackhawks writing crew, bringing you the latest news, rumors, trades, player grades, game results, and much more. From training camp to the playoffs, from Chelsea Dagger to the Madhouse on Madison, our team covers everything that happens with the Hawks. So get comfortable, grab a beverage. It's time for some Blackhawks Banter. Blackhawks Banter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blackhawks Banter presented by the Hockey Writers. If you're new here, our Blackhawks crew at thehockeywriters.com comes together weekly to talk about all things Blackhawks. So be sure to follow all of us on Twitter. Our usernames are right here on the screen. You can also follow our Blackhawks Banter Twitter account at THW Blackhawks. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to our Facebook. Or if you prefer, you can find our show on all your favorite podcast platforms. So the season will start officially on Wednesday. And by the time, I forgot to say, I'm Brooke Lafriner, host for tonight, along with Greg Boycing, Dale Kowchuk, and Sean Filippelli, our wonderful team here. So our season will be starting on Wednesday, but by the time the viewers see this, it will be tomorrow, I think, right? So we have a lot to talk about because there's a lot going on. So let's just get right into it. So obviously yesterday, Sunday, we were vibing. We were coming off a really good win for our last preseason. We just dominated the Wild. We were vibing. Then the Bears were winning. We were all cool about it. Then all of a sudden, the Blackhawks decided that they were going to sign Erik Gustafsson to a 1-year, $800,000 deal, which was kind of surprising. He last was with the Blackhawks in 2020. But now he's back for the year because we got some injuries on defense, but still kind of weird. I don't know about that. So we have to talk about this, and I have a feeling this is going to be a really good topic. So how are we feeling about this move, guys? Greg, I'm going to start with you.
I don't get it. It's a waste of everybody's time and $800,000 of cap space. Yeah, we got injuries, but they're not like serious. Kalynuk and Caleb Jones are going to miss a couple of weeks, a handful of games. Why are we not just letting Nicholas Bodine or Ian Mitchell or Jakob Galvis, who had a really good preseason, play these games? Instead, we're taking a guy who is one of the worst 5-on-5 defensemen in the entire league and plugging him into a team that has been atrocious at 5-on-5 defense because he had some magical 60-point season that was a complete fluke 3 years ago. He's been on 4 teams since then. All right, there's a reason he's bad at hockey. Enough. It's just I don't get the move. He can't play defense, and defense is in his job description, so that's not good. I don't care about the power play stuff, and his power play stuff hasn't been that great in the 2 years since he's been gone. He even said today, "I played with Patrick Kane." There you go. With somebody else to play with Patrick Kane and perform on the power play. It just doesn't make any sense, especially if he sticks around and then he takes away a spot from one of these young guys the rest of the year, just so maybe he can score a power play goal while he lets 5-on-5 goals in behind him. It's just a dumb move. You shouldn't make me this upset to kick off a show, but here we are.
Gail.
Hi, I locked up for a minute. Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn, Gail.
Okay. All right. I love disagreeing with Greg. Okay. Gusty on the cheap. All right. Okay. So he's not exactly the greatest defenseman. Okay. All right. Right. But let's say, he knows the system. You put him in a sheltered role, maybe put him with DeHaan, stay-at-home DeHaan, shelter him. He can help on the second power play. I personally think that they're here they want to win. They want some security. He's kind of a stopgap, you guys. Ian Mitchell, I think we were all kind of the opinion, and even he was of the opinion that he wasn't really ready. So let him get the big minutes and let him play down in Rockford and have get some confidence instead of not being confident. And so then you play Gustafsson for a while. He's a stopgap. Let's face it. As soon as Kalynuk and or Caleb Jones are healthy, more than likely Gustafsson is going to be out. He'll be scratched. He'll be the one that goes down to Rockford. So he's just a stopgap. It's cheap. He knows the system, and I personally like the move. Bring him on.
Sean.
I'm gonna balance the line here and say that I agree with both stances. To be honest, I'm confused by it. I don't quite understand it, and it was weird to look at. But at the same time, it felt like the deja vu we should be used to as Blackhawks fans, with someone coming back that was a former star and did something good at some point. So let's bring him back and see if they can do it again. I don't know where he fits. I don't know what he's going to do or what he's going to infuse into the lineup. But again, as Greg said, based on his recent tenure in the league. But as Gail said, we got him on the cheap. Who knows what he can do at this point? If there is upside there, I recognize it's wishful thinking, but who knows? So because of the cost, I don't really hate it, to be totally honest. I'm just left a little bit confused about where he slots in and what the bigger game plan is here, to be honest.
Yeah, I see all of your guys' point. I understand that it's a cheap deal, but in my mind, I don't feel like the Blackhawks need him. And that might sound kind of weird, but it's like we already have 500,000 defensemen in the system. So it's like, do we really need him? And I don't think Caleb Jones and Kalynuk are going to be out that long. So when they come back, like Gail said, where is this going? I don't really get it. Maybe he can help on the power play, maybe, but I actually think the power play will be pretty good. I don't think they're going to need him as much, but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of confused about this. I don't really like it, though. I'm leaning more towards I don't like it. I feel like it was kind of a waste of a signing, to be honest. So, but we'll see. We'll see how this shakes out. Maybe they'll use him as a trade piece, maybe at the trade deadline or something again for the second time. So we'll see. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement that we're kind of like, nah, that's not really the most exciting thing. But so let's get into the really exciting things then, because that was kind of a buzzkill. But so the preseason, the Blackhawks went 3-3. So I know it doesn't matter, but being at 500 is, I guess, a good thing. So we got to talk about player evaluations, and one of them is Mackenzie Entwistle. He had 3 goals, 1 assist, and was a +4 in his last 4 games, and he won 60% of faceoffs in the win against Minnesota. And he was basically in the preseason lineup the whole time. And he was someone that wasn't even on my radar as someone that could really come out and have so much success out of the gate in the preseason, but now he's here. So I'm excited about it. So do you guys think he deserves to make the opening night roster? Sean?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's always nice to reward that kind of performance. We obviously all agree that preseason doesn't mean much, but at the same time, these individual players are coming out and putting in the work. So those who are doing so consistently and showing what they have might as well try it out and see if it, when games really matter, if they can replicate those performances. So for sure, I think he's deserved the chance to get into the lineup. Throw him into a bottom 6 role. It shouldn't ruffle that many feathers. And frankly, let his play dictate whether he stays in or not. If he keeps performing the way he is, then he's proven he deserves to be there, and the Blackhawks are all the better for it. If he tapers off and can't keep up when the games do start to matter, like I said, then take him out and put someone else in. I think it's that simple.
Greg?
Yeah, I think he's earned a spot. I've been able to watch him a lot with the Ice Hogs over the last 2 seasons, and the kid has put in the work. He's improved and progressed big time. From his opening night with the Ice Hogs at the start of the 2019-20 season to now, he's almost a completely different player. Just better skater, better, he's got such a good work ethic, a good attitude. He'll do whatever is asked of him, and those are the kind of guys you need. And he's versatile. He could play all 3 forward positions. He can play both wings. He could play center. So that's good when you got a team. Injuries are a part of a season. It's going to happen in mid-game. You may need him to switch from a wing to center or whatever. And that the more positions you can play on the ice, the more chances you have to play and perform. So he can do that as well. And he's earned it. And, you give him a few games, see what happens. Maybe he sticks up, or maybe he has to go back down to Rockford. But I'm happy for him that he's going to be on that opening night roster.
Gail?
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to say the same thing. Kudos to him for putting in the hard work. Kudos, he wasn't really on anybody's radar to make the team. Maybe he was, I don't know, but it's great. Good for him. And the only thing that I guess I would be a little bit concerned about is you want him to. You don't want him to be a healthy scratch all the time. You don't want him just sitting on the bench. And if that's going to happen, then he would be better served down in Rockford. So I guess we'll just have to kind of see how it plays out. But I think he has a great chance of making the team.
Yeah, I agree. I think he deserves it. And I don't even like the word really deserve. I just think it's kind of a weird word here, but it's kind of what makes sense. But honestly, he's played his heart out. And that's what you use training camp for. You choose the ones that are performing, and he has performed. So who knows if that will translate into the actual thing, into the NHL, but he did play in a few games towards the end of the year and looked pretty good there too. So I do think he deserves it. He, like Greg said, he's versatile. I kind of like that about him. We talked about the bottom 4 lines, or the bottom 2 lines that could just totally do a whole overhaul. This is what we've been needing, something like this. So I'm all for it. I'm looking forward to see actually how he does in the NHL setting in a full season. If he's going to be up here and playing, then we can talk again, but I'm for it. I'm actually really excited about where this can go. And so I guess, sorry.
I just want to throw this in. Sorry. He's got one of the best nicknames in the locker room too. We talked about nicknames a couple of days ago. Twisty. I mean, how do you not like a guy they call Twisty? So welcome aboard, Twisty.
I love Twisty. I love that nickname. I love it. So I guess to feed into that question, they keep talking about for the preseason, talking about, the final center, the 4th line center that they said the coaching staff was choosing between Entwistle, Dylan Strome, and Adam Gaudette, who actually all could make pretty strong cases for that role. So that's a big one. So in your mind, who would you pick for the 4th line center? Who do I got here? Gail. Sorry.
Erik Gustafsson. I don't know. It all depends on chemistry. I really honestly think that between Henrik Borgstrom, Entwistle, Gaudette, and Strome, there's going to be a lot of rotation. There's going to be a lot of figuring it out. I guess if you twisted my arm and said I had to make a decision, I would. It looks like they're looking at Borgstrom on that 3rd line. I don't see Strome being a 4th line guy. That isn't really a good fit. I would probably go with Gaudette just because he's got a little bit more experience, a little bit more to bring to the table. But then again, I have not seen a whole lot of Entwistle, so I don't want to just count him out. So I guess that would kind of be my thought process there.
Sean?
I'm going to sort of cheat the question a little bit and say that I put Entwistle in the middle, but I want to make sure that meant Gaudette's on the right. I'd want them both to be on that 4th line because I want to see what they can both do in that position. So to answer the question simply, I'm going to go with Entwistle, but it's sort of contingent on Gaudette as well, because I do really feel like there's a lot for him still to prove. And I think that chip on his shoulder isn't going away anytime soon. And again, I know it's college. I know it doesn't translate to NHL, but Gaudette is a Hobey Baker winner. He is a very skilled hockey player, and I don't think his best days are behind him by any stretch. So he needs to be in that lineup, and they need to give him playing time to see what he can do for Chicago. But like we just said, Entwistle needs to be rewarded, and that face-off win percentage is impressive, and they need that in the lineup. So get them both on that 4th line.
Greg?
My choice might be the unpopular / surprising pick, but I would put Strome in the middle there just because that's his natural position. He's a natural out of those 3 guys. If you're going to have those as your 4th line, I would put Strome in the middle. He's not your typical 4th line center. You're not paying him to be a 4th line center, but this is where we are. You got to build your lineup of what you got, and then maybe put him in a. He's not going to be a checking line type player, but if he's in matchups against other teams' bottom 6, that may bode well for him, maybe get some confidence going for him, not playing against top 2 line competitions night in, night out. Maybe that gets him going and boosts his confidence, and you move him up in the lineup. I do think Entwistle and Gaudette are better served on the wings as opposed to center. I think they're both still young, learning the games, a lot of pressure to play center. There's a lot that goes into that position, especially defensively. Strome's done it. He's the veteran of that group, so I would put him in the middle just because he's more comfortable. And right now, I think Entwistle and Gaudette are better served playing wing.
Yeah, it's actually a hard decision. Like I said, they all make strong cases for this. But my first instinct was Entwistle, and here I go again. Like I said, I get stuck on a player for a few weeks until another one pops up. It was Tyler Johnson the other week, then Borgstrom. Now I'm on Entwistles now. So, but I don't know. I like that him in the center. I think he can do kind of Strome's job at a cheaper price, to be honest with you. But I also really like Gaudette too. I like what I've seen from him. I don't really know though if I'd put him in the center though, but I like what he brings. So I would put him on wing for sure. So honestly, I said in my mind, I would be fine with either Entwistle or Gaudet, I guess, in that role, because I really don't have anything against both of them. I think they're both really talented, can bring a lot to the team. So we'll see. So Blackhawks fans, tell us, out of the three, who would you pick to be the fourth line center? Let us know.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So since we just talked about prospects, we're going to keep that kind of going, and we're going to talk about Lukas Reichel. So obviously we talked about him for the last few weeks leading up to training camp. We kind of debated before whether he would make the team or not, but he was one of 9 players that got assigned to Rockford. So now that we know that he's not going to start with the Blackhawks, let's just talk about what we've seen from him in preseason. We saw him in 2 preseason games. So I want to know what you guys think. How do you think he did in the preseason, Greg?
I thought he was fine. He's definitely a highly skilled player. The things that stuck out the most to me in his appearances was that he played with confidence. He didn't look out of place. He didn't look nervous. The moment wasn't too big for him. Granted, it's preseason, but it's your first time stepping on the ice as an NHL player. Your insides have got to be all turned to mush by the time you get on that first shift. So he didn't look like the moment was too big for him. That's impressive from a young kid. A lot of times we see these rookies out there and they look like deer in the headlights for a few shifts. That was never the case with Reichel. I think putting him down in Rockford to start the season is a very good move. There's no reason to rush him. The Ice Hogs had their media day today, and I asked head coach Derek King specifically about Reichel, and he said there's a lot that goes into acclimating these kids, especially when you come from another country, that he can learn down in Rockford without the pressure of playing in the NHL. Things like getting an apartment, opening up a credit card, paying your phone bill, waking up on time and getting to practice on your own, eating, all that stuff that goes into that we don't think about, but he's got to adjust to. So he can do all that stuff without the pressure of playing in AHL, which I think will serve him good, but he's not going to be down in Rockford very long.
Gail?
Yeah, I think he actually looked really good in the preseason. I would agree. They started him out on the third line with Borgstrom and Nylander, but then the second game that he played, he was with Jonathan Toews and Brandon Hagel. So those are kind of nice line mates there, and he didn't look out of place. And I think that he performed well. But let's face it, he's young. He's 19 years old. He's still small and thin. He probably needs to some weight and some strength to put on his young frame. So I definitely think that Rockford is a good place for him to build some confidence, but I really would not be surprised. We're definitely going to see him with Blackhawks this season at some point.
Sean?
Yeah, I feel like I'm stealing the words right from Greg's mouth, because as he was giving his answer, it's essentially exactly what I'm thinking, that he looked fine. And the reality is, I think what's most impressive, again, sort of repeating verbatim here, that he didn't look like he was out of place, which is impressive for a 19-year-old. So the fact that he didn't necessarily overly impress isn't really a concern because of what this really meant. I think it's more it's more for us to highlight the fact that he looked like he, again, belonged and like he could keep up and like he could play in the pros. And those are all great signs, but he's obviously not there yet. So let him go down, let him develop a little more, let him grow in that confidence and physically grow as well and fill out a little more and fine tune his skill set. And he's going to come up and be even more dangerous. So the fact that he looked fine is a good thing in this case.
Yeah. I like that we all agree that he looked good. And honestly, I was a little worried that maybe we thought he would be bad, because when you hype someone up usually for so long and then sometimes it can come out flat, but that wasn't the case. So that's really encouraging, especially because, like Greg said, he's playing on North American ice for the first time. And in my mind, I thought he looked just okay. And okay, I think, is great because he is young and he's growing. And Borgstrom actually was kind of the one that stuck out to me more than him, and that's not a bad thing. Borgstrom has NHL experience, but I did like the flashes that I saw from Reichel. He just shows like glimpses of quickness and sharpness, and I just really like it. And once he like really fills into his role, that's going to be, I think, exciting. So yeah, I think we all agree him and Rockford is okay for now, and he looked good, and we'll just have to see where that takes the Blackhawks this season. Ball and all, good for him. Well, that's something we'll keep following. And honestly, probably by next week, he'll be the one player stuck in my mind again, and we'll be going back onto him again. So this is our mid-show reminders. You're watching Blackhawks Banter presented by the Hockey Writers. I'm Brooke Laferno, joined by Greg Boyson, Gail Kauchuk, and Sean Filippelli. Our Blackhawks crew here at the Hockey Writers. You can find all of our articles at thehockeywriters.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter. Our usernames are right here on the screen. We love chatting with you guys. And be sure to follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode of our show. So let's keep the show rolling. And I actually got a viewer question, which I'm kind of excited about. So this is from Mike, and he asked our crew. He said, do you know the saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it? But the problem is that Colleton's defensive system is so broke. What do they do about it? So obviously the defense looked pretty good in their win, but obviously tweaks could still be greatly used. So what needs to happen for the defense to be successful? How does this get fixed? Sean, I'm gonna start with you.
So it's a fair question, but obviously it's a loaded one because those have been some of their biggest issues in recent years here. I'm drawn to a couple points, and one being there's some new names and some new faces in that locker room. So the reality is it's going to take a little bit of time to get familiarity and find a little bit more cohesion. But that said, and to segue from that point, what I didn't like most last year and what I think they need to be aware of this year, not so much from a systems standpoint, but from a defensive structural standpoint, they need to be able to allow these players to grow together and develop together and work with that consistency and that cohesion. All too often last year, it was a year to try things out, but we saw players coming and going this line, that line, and otherwise. And I just want to see them allow some players the time and the opportunity to actually create cohesion together and then see where that can take them and this team. It might sound weird, but I want to see a little more patience with some of those pairings, recognizing who might not have all the experience together, let them get some of it and then see what's there. And if it's working, don't change it. So to me, it's just a matter of finding a little more consistency with those pairings and then seeing how that unfolds.
We're going to Greg next, and I have a feeling that he's got an Oscar speech prepared for this question. So let's settle in, guys. Greg, what are your thoughts?
No, I love Jeremy Colleton's system. That's all I wanted to say. No, I'm kidding. You guys are giving me Gustafsson and Colleton here tonight. I feel like this is a setup, but how do you fix a broken system? Here's my answer. You get a different system. You get a different mindset. You get a different coach. Just isn't going to magically work all of a sudden. It's a bad system. Two reasons. When he does do his man-on-man, we saw it in the preseason games. This is a system where he's okay with his defensemen playing above the circles. That is never going to work. I don't care who you have. I don't care if you've got Seth Jones, if you've got Bobby Orr, if you got Ray Bork. If they're chasing guys to above the circles, you're going to have holes. Even when he has relinquished his stubbornness a little bit and kind of gone to like a hybrid version of his man-to-man in your typical zone defense, he still has flat out said he's okay with giving up all those shots as long as his team is there to get the rebounds and clear it out the zone. Shot suppression is never going to be a thing for Jeremy Colleton and his systems. Again, that is just a recipe for failure. You can't give up 40 to 50 shots a game. Yeah, Brooke, you mentioned that defensive effort was better on the last game against Minnesota. For 2 periods, that first period, they gave up 17 shots on goal, which again is another symptom of this team for 3 years. They just seem to can't put 3 good periods together. It's always 1 crap period and then 2 pretty good periods. And that crap period is the one that costs them 2 points at the end of the night. So we're seeing the same problems here in preseason. Maybe it changes in the regular season. Maybe the different personnel gets it and it's better. I'm not holding my breath on any of that. So the system's broken. Mike was right. The system is broken. You don't fix it. You put in a whole new system.
Gail?
Okay, you guys, Colleton's system is not going away anytime. Okay? So as a matter of fact, there's other teams that use the system with somewhat of success. So I think it's a matter of having the right personnel. And I think that Colleton finally has the personnel that he's looking for. He's really kind of been able to create and mold this team. He has Seth Jones that has all the right tools, big, strong, fast, physical. He can hold his own defensively, offensive flair as well. You have DeHaan, who is a steady, reliable stay-at-home defenseman. McCabe and Murphy, they're both excellent shutdown defensemen. And then you've got these younger guys that are kind of working around all that. And all of them have been around. Most of them have been around for a while. And so they're used to this system. And I think that it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but I think that we're going to see some improvement this season. Please.
Okay, Gail, we know that it's not going away, but it doesn't hurt us to dream. Just let us dream a little bit, okay? But yeah, I don't even know how to answer this question, to be honest, because it's kind of a loaded one. It's broken. So it is what it is. And it's kind of frustrating because I know preseason doesn't mean anything. But we kind of said this before about the forwards kind of playing the same way, even though there's new faces. And it seemed like the defense is still playing the same way with new faces. So it kind of reiterates to us that maybe our players aren't bad. It's just that the system is bad and it's making them play bad. So yeah, it is frustrating. And like Greg said, I don't know what this will turn into. Can this turn into consistency of getting better with better players? I don't know. Or like Greg said, are we going to do the one period where we look like Stanley Cup champions and then go back to looking like Detroit Red Wings? I don't know. But yeah, it's frustrating, but all we can do is just hope it gets better because we're not the coaches. Unfortunately, if we were the coaches, this would have been fixed. The Blackhawks should hire us because we keep talking about it, but whatever. We'll just keep waiting our chance for that. Yeah, so Blackhawk fans, let us know. What do you think needs to change too? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of solutions that can be done here. So let us know your thoughts too. And thanks again for the question, Mike. We really appreciate it. The last one of our last topics as we're closing out the show here is the team outlook. And I saw this on Twitter and it actually kind of stuck out to me a lot. Someone had asked, from where this team stands now, is this a complete team? I like to stump you guys, so I was really excited about this question. Gail?
No, it's not complete, but like I said, it's way better than it was in the past. They have tons of weapons on offense, and it's just a matter of whether or not they can create the right chemistry together. I think there's a lot of potential there. I already mentioned the defense is molded around Colleton's system. I think there's potential for that to be better. Can they put it together? We'll see. Injuries could be a factor right off the start, which again is why I think they went out and got Gustafsson. Power play looked good in the preseason. Can they stay consistent with that? Penalty kill looked awful, but I personally think that's a bit of an aberration. I think they're going to be fine on the PK in the long run. You have, is Fleury washed up? Doubt it. I don't think Fleury's washed up. Lankinen, solid tandem backup. So to answer your question, on paper, they're way more complete than they were in the past. Hopefully they can put it together.
Sean?
No, of course they're not complete. Even the best teams in this league in any given year aren't complete. And with that being said, they're as close to being complete as they can. But this Chicago team is new. Yeah, they made improvements throughout in every position and every facet of their lineup, but we don't know what that's going to mean yet. We don't know how it's going to all come together. So you can have names on paper that look to be the right names in the right positions, but until we see it translated into on-ice performance, there's no way to really know. So to me, just the simple fact of the unknowns means that it's impossible for us to claim or for it to be complete until it actually results in success is the only time we can actually gauge whether this is complete or not. So right now I have to say no, there's too many unknowns.
Greg?
Yeah, I'll follow the same suit. As both Gail and Sean said, they're definitely improved, but no, they're not complete. I still have way too many concerns about how this team is playing at 5-on-5. The where you spend the most time in a hockey game. Their team defense overall still makes me itchy. Offensively, 5-on-5, I don't know where the secondary scoring is going to come from. I still have concerns of how they're going to score goals outside of your big guns. Was Patrick Kane's nagging injury just a fluke, or are we starting to see Father Time, who's still undefeated, by the way, finally, maybe win out a little bit here? I hope not, but if Patrick Kane struggles, where does that offense come from outside of a couple of guys? So there's still a lot of concerns. I mean, every team's going to have their concerns right now. This is the time of year where everybody either is way too hopeful or just worried about every little facet of their team. So I think we're stuck in the middle there, but not a complete team, definitely an improved team. And, we'll see how that unfolds on the ice.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys said, no team really is ever even complete. It's a process. But in my mind, I feel like this team is as complete as it's going to get at this point. I mean, pretty much they stuck with the same people, and it seemed like Erik Gustafsson was just the icing on the cake for us that really made us a complete team. And that's just what it is. So in my mind, it's like, I guess it is complete, maybe on paper, but yeah, performance-wise, no, it's not. But it like I said, it's just complete in what it is for right now. But there's a lot of questions, and we'll see. Again, it'll probably be different towards the trade deadline. Then we'll see. But I think it is complete for right now. I don't think there's going to be much changes going on. So we'll see. That's my catch line for the show. We'll see. Let's keep going. And finally, we're going to close out the show with our shootout predictions. So we're going to answer a set of questions, just quick, like a shootout. So the first question is, who will lead the team in points this season? Greg.
Alex DeBrincat.
Gail.
Patrick Kane.
Sean.
DeBrincat.
I'm going to have to say Kane. Who will lead the team in goals? Sean.
DeBrincat.
Greg.
Going with a dark horse, Dominic Kubalik.
Ooh. Gail.
I thought about him, but no, DeBrincat.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with DeBrincat too. Who will lead the defense in points? Gail.
Seth Jones.
Sean.
Better be Seth Jones.
Greg.
Sticking with our guy, Seth.
Yeah. If it's not Seth Jones, I'm going to be really disappointed. It has to be.
Gustafsson, man. Gusty. Just kidding.
Oh, yeah, duh. Of course. How could we forget? Which newcomer will impress the most this season? Greg.
Back-to-back answers. Seth Jones. Someone's got to stick up for him.
Gail.
Jake McCabe.
Ooh, Sean.
Henrik Borgstrom.
Yep, I was going to say Borgstrom too. How many wins will Fleury get? Sean.
34.
Ooh, Greg.
I have him at 31.
Ooh, Gail.
Perhaps I shot a little high here, but I went with 38.
Okay, I feel bad, but I was going to stick around 25, 26, something like that, because I don't know what's going to be. And that's not a knock on him, I promise. That's just what it is. Where will this team place in the Central? Gail.
Third.
Sean.
Third.
Greg.
5th place.
Yep, I was going to say 5th place too. That number just sticks out to me for some reason. How many points will the team have this year, Greg?
I'm putting them at 92 points.
Ooh, Gail.
Well, I think we know your answers to the next question then. 102. They got to get over 100 to make the playoffs.
Ooh, Sean.
98.
Ooh, and my thing was 95. I don't know why. I'm just going to stick to that. Will Jeremy Colleton be the head coach at the end of the season? Sean.
Yes.
Greg.
I hope not. No.
Gail.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sticking with that too. As much as we'd like to see change happening, I just don't see it happening. They seem pretty committed. And finally, will the Blackhawks make the playoffs? Gail.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Greg.
No, unless they make a coaching change early in the season.
Okay, I'm gonna have to stick with Greg on here. No, because we said 5th place, so
split.
I know. This will be fun to look back on. By the end of the season, we'll see what happens here. So Blackhawk fans, tell us your predictions too. We want to hear them. Let us know all your thoughts. But that will wrap up our show. Thank you guys. Thank you, Greg, Gail, and Sean for joining me today. Thank you so much to the viewers who continue to watch our show weekly and chat with us. We love it. Be sure to follow all of us on Twitter. You could also follow our Blackhawks Banter Twitter page, which is at THW Blackhawks. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. And we'll see you next week. By next week, the first game will have started, so we'll have a bunch more to talk about. So woohoo! No more preseason talk. I'm so excited. But thank you guys so much. Good night, guys.